Hello, Internet land. My name is Ty. Some of you may know me, a lot of you may not. I just wanted to jump on quickly and share my journey over the last 12 months, as a lot of my close friends and family found that it was quite inspiring to them, and they said I should share it when I was ready. So, given that it's almost 12 months to the date that I was actually diagnosed with a form of non-Hodgkin's and lymphoma, it was diffuse B cell lymphoma to be precise. So what I want to do is just, I guess, share my journey as quickly as I can, but I'll go from the first stage of events up until where I sit here right now. So it was the back end of February 2023. I was actually at work in Tarrant Point at Tribe Social Fitness. Shout out to you legends, which I'll talk about a bit more in depth soon. I was holding pads, boxing mitts for a few clients, and my right forearm swelled up. It went really firm, and then it began to go purple in sort of color. I had a rest between clients, and then I did some more, and then this reoccurred. A really good friend of mine and colleague at the time, James, said to me, he goes, "Dude, that's not good." And I was like, "No, I don't think it is." And having been in the fitness and health industry as long as I have, I kind of knew it was blood related. Um, so I was like, I better get that checked. And James was of the same opinion that I should go get that sort too. So I actually live and reside in Wollongong. So James had tried to organise for me to go to Sutherland Hospital, but I thought I'll just jump in the car and I'll drive home. So I drove home, took myself to Wollongong Hospital, went into the emergency there, and I sat there and eventually got admitted. And I'd explained to them that I'd had some firmness and discoloring in my fingers and my forearm while I was at work. And of course, while I was there, I'd had time to rest and subside, and it wouldn't do it. So after talking with the docs there, and they suggested that I go have an ultrasound, in which I did. I went in, had an ultrasound, and they found blood clots in my right arm, sort of halfway down towards the bicep area and a little bit over towards the chest. So events unfolded. We did a few more scans, and it turns out that I had what they diagnosed me with as thoracic outlet syndrome. So apparently my muscles that are petrified, they pushed my rib bone onto a vein in my shoulder, and over the years of training, it had actually crushed the vein and restricted the blood flow, which obviously led to the problems I had in my forearm. So after meeting with a vascular surgeon, they suggested I have a rib resection where they remove part of the rib. They go in, they clean it up. Later, they went on to tell me it was quite damaged and there was a fair amount of scar tissue. They had to take a vein from my leg to repair the damage in my shoulder, my rib area there, first rib, to fix the blood clots. So firstly, they went in and removed the clots as best they can, and then 2 days later, I had that operation, which was quite intense. Now that I sit and think about it, it was quite a big operation. The doctors were awesome, and they said to me, within 2 weeks, I should be sort of about 50% back to normal, and then by about 4 weeks, I should be good to go. And then the sort of 3 week mark came around, and I'd said to work, "I'm good, I'll come back to work." And I went in early that morning, and I didn't feel great. I actually felt really, really bad. I was, and from what my colleagues have said, I kind of did look like death. So I did one session, and then I just said to the boss, Mark. I said, "No, I'm no good." And he goes, "No, man, you need to go home. You don't look great." Um, and so I went to the change room, grabbed my stuff. I was actually sick in the change room prior to driving home. I drove home back to Wollongong. Got inside, laid on the lounge. I was actually a mess. And then I was violently ill a few more times. One in the car on the way home as I was driving, and then two more times when I got inside. I'm pretty tough, and it takes a lot for me at times to admit that I'm sick. And I remember sitting there going, "There's something wrong. You're not well." And it just happened that that afternoon, Mum had come over and saw me laying on the lounge, and she was like, "Oh," to put nicely, she also said, "I looked like I was about to die," and she took me up to the hospital, back to emergency. Went in to emergency, sat there for a little while. I explained to him the previous operation and the occurrence of events over the last 3 weeks, and he was excellent, and he sort of pushed me through. They sent me in, and they did a few other scans and blood tests, and I got woken up in emergency. I was on one of the beds in there, and they woke me up, and the guy said, "The scans have come back. We found your spleen to be much larger than it should be at your age. We think you have lymphoma." And then he kind of just walked off. And I was just there, and I was like, it was really tired, and I said to myself, "Did he just say I've got cancer?" And anyhow, I just went back to sleep, and then I thought I'll deal with that tomorrow. And I woke up, and then I'd had spoken to a couple other doctors the next day, and I'd said I'd recently had this operation. They'd had blood clots in my right arm. So they transferred me back to the vascular ward, and then they got in touch with my vascular surgeon and doctors that had performed that procedure. They ran a few more blood tests. At this stage, I was still quite sick, and they ran some more tests, and it came back that my calcium levels were extremely high. In fact, some of the highest that they'd ever seen. And it was still at this stage, it was a bit surreal. And then when I got transferred to the cancer ward, I kind of thought, oh, okay, this might be a bit more serious. So I end up spending 3 weeks in the cancer ward. They were pretty certain it was lymphoma. I didn't know how many forms of lymphoma there actually was, and they said they needed to determine exactly which one it was so they could treat it specifically, because if they gave me the wrong treatment, that could cause other issues. So I had about 3 biopsies, because I'd obviously had the cancer for some time. The initial biopsies didn't give them much. My oncologist, Professor Cartwright, she was amazing. She's a fantastic woman. And she was very, I guess, direct along the process, which I appreciated. And she's like, "Oh, this hasn't told me anything yet. I can't really tell what it is. Gonna have to run some more tests." So they ran 3 biopsies. They came to me. They said they were still struggling to diagnose specifically what it was. Then, on the eve of potentially having to have a bone marrow biopsy, they had figured out exactly the type that I had, which turned out to be diffuse B-cell lymphoma, and that I was actually stage 3, which was pretty. It was good to know exactly what the issue was, but then it was also not great to find out that that's what I was diagnosed with. So waited a couple of days after diagnosis, and then I had my first dose of chemo in the hospital. And I, on one hand, I instantly felt better. So previous to that, if I touch on I guess the signs and the symptoms of what I had, I would sweat a lot in the night. I would wake up in the pillowcase and the sheets, and everything would be saturated. My poor wife had to change the stuff every day, pretty much. But I just figured I'm a sweaty bloke. I just thought that was normal. I had noticed that I'd felt my spleen that way for a very long time, but didn't know that that wasn't normal. I just must have had it that long that I assumed that was normal, which turns out wasn't the case. I did find some lumps in my stomach. I felt some lumps, but having trained with weight training and high intense training and doing martial arts for the best part of 10 years, you get a lot of bumps and bruises, and I just, typical male, I guess, just put it down to, it's just something else. I did also notice a quite large lump over here on the left side near my neck, which I later found out is a massive indicator of lymphoma. I also had, a lot of lethargicness, tiredness. I remember sitting there one day and shout out to Costi, the legend, my manager at the time. He came past the office and I was doing some reports, and he's like, "Are you all right?" And I said, "Mate, I got nothing. I've got no energy. There's no go in me. I'm sleeping okay on the weekends. Like I should have more energy than this. I don't know what the issue is." We in the personal trainer game, you can tend to work crazy hours and you can tend to not eat frequently enough, and I just put it down to tiredness and just overexertion and working too much, which was probably a few weeks after that time when everything sort of started to go pear-shaped. So yeah, if I'm talking and directing this to a lot of us blokes who I guess think we're indestructible and think we're tough and it's nothing, she'll be right. I had noticed the symptoms, which unfortunately I didn't know were the symptoms at the time, but I noticed these things a long, long time ago. And if I'd had gone and got checked, I may have found it a lot sooner than getting to stage 3. Fortunately enough, once I started treatment, after the second dose, I noticed the lymph node, particularly up here near my neck and shoulder area, started to shrink straight away. So I thought, oh, that's a pretty good response to the chemotherapy. So over the course of 12 weeks, I had 6 doses. They tackled it pretty aggressively, so every 2 weeks for 3 days in a row. I went to the outpatient clinic at Wollongong Hospital and had treatment. I would walk, so I lived right near there, so I would actually walk up the hill to the hospital. Little did I know, as I was having the chemo, I started to become very anemic, so walking up the hill was a challenge. My red blood cells and my hemoglobin levels were heavily affected by the chemo. So that was a struggle. So I'd walk up to the hill, I'd get to the top of the hill, and I'd have to press the button, and I'd hold onto the pole, and I'd catch myself, and then I would walk across into the unit, and then I would sit there, and I think the first day would be about 5 hours of chemotherapy, and then the next 2 days were about 2 hours, 3 hours, depending on whether I was requiring blood transfusions. Because of the anemia, I did require 4 blood transfusions in total. I think I initially had a single bag. It bumped my levels up a little bit, but not great. So then I had a double dose in one sitting, and that sort of increased it to where it needed to be. and then obviously after having a little bit more chemo, it dropped again, and then I required another blood transfusion to sort of put me back into that normal state, or as close to as possible, whilst having the treatment. After about the third dose, I started to lose my hair, which once again, through the whole process or journey, I guess it kind of seemed surreal. I was so fit and strong and healthy, and here I was, really sick and in a way dying slowly. And um, yeah, so when my hair started to fall out, I woke up one morning and I just put my hand through my hair, and then all of a sudden there were clumps of it, and I was like, oh, okay, this is, I'm going through this, and I I guess I never really feared death, so I was okay, and in that regards, I was up for the challenge, and I'm like, either I win or it wins. I've been in the ring with my mates many a time, and doing martial arts, and 9 times out of 10, I'm just gonna get in there and fight, and I would come off second best, but that's just what happens, and I think that helped me, I guess, develop a level of toughness and resilience in terms of helping me get through this. The thing I found difficult was obviously having to tell my children that that dad's got cancer, and then my hair started to fall out. I was like, oh, how do we make this as easy as on them as possible? And I got them involved in shaving my hair, and I got some, I guess, in a way, some really cool photos, I guess, of them shaving my hair, and trying to make the whole thing light-hearted, and just say to him, look, Dad's going to be sick for a little while, and then he'll come good, and then he'll be back to normal, and we'll just soldier on with life. Now, there's no guarantees that was going to happen, but I guess that's just the mentality I adopted. I was like, if I'm going down swinging. But given the advancements in treatment, and how well things are now, I was pretty confident, and the doctors were pretty confident that we would get on top of it and beat it. It was just a matter of time. So I just followed everything that they said, and rocked up for my chemotherapy. Work was amazing. Mark, my boss, was a phenomenal human. The people of Tribe Social Fitness, the community there were just amazing. They ran a charity event for me, raised a substantial amount of money to help me through this process, and for that I'll be forever grateful. So if you live in the Shire area, the Cronulla area, and you're looking for a gym to help improve your health and fitness, then go see my mates at Tribe Social Fitness. They'll take great care of you. But truly grateful for everything that everyone there did for me, to get me back on my feet, and to support me through that process, which was probably one of the darkest and most challenging periods of my life. And the support from my family and my friends and was amazing. A good mate, Paddy, and colleague of mine, who's also a fantastic trainer, but an even better human, he used one of his lunch breaks to drive down to see me and sit next to me while I was having treatment. And any of you guys in the fitness industry and the PT world know that our time can be precious. So when he had some downtime to use it to come and visit me, was exceptional, and I'm forever grateful for that. Thank you, mate. Yeah, so I went through all the chemo. As I said, my hair did fall out. It still seems surreal to me. I was like, is this really happening? Like, am I going through this? And I guess it wasn't until my eyebrows fell out. It's amazing how much your eyebrows do for your face and your features. I need every little bit of help I can get. So when that went, I actually started to think, wow, I do look sick. I saw some photos of myself, and I was kind of like, why do I look like I have cancer? And well, that's because you did, man. And at the time, I definitely did. But I was on the mend, and the cancer treatment was definitely working. I could feel that a lot of the signs and symptoms that I mentioned previously that I'd had for numerous years had started to improve. If, in fact, actually went away. The night sweats, or those sort of things, disappeared instantly from the first cycle, I guess, or the first dose of treatment. So with the cancer and obviously with the chemo treatment, there is a period, a window where you do have to wait before they scan you. So PET scans, etc., to make sure that, or to try and see if I'm actually clear, and then there's no lymph nodes lighting up under the 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 substance that you take when they put you in the machine. So I had that done, and then I went to see my oncologist again after that, and she said, "We've got good news, but we don't have great news yet." There was still a little bit of activity in one of the lymph nodes under my left armpit. I don't know if you can see the scar there. It's much better than when they first did it. So I had to have that one completely removed. At this stage, I still thought, well, there's a possibility that I still have it. We didn't get it all. Professor Cartwright did say to me when I left that last consultation that I was in a bad way. And then we would have been really lucky to get it in one hit. But they weren't sure, so they would like me to have that extra biopsy, have that removed, check it, and then we'll know for sure. So there was about a 3-week wait after that biopsy until I got that phone call, and then not knowing was challenging. I'd obviously had accepted that I could have it, and I was like, right, I'm ready to go. Between that window, so about 3 weeks after chemo, I started training again. I got back in the gym, and I was trying to lift weights and start to sort of repair my health, and obviously had to take it easy. Still very dizzy and running out of energy quite quick because of, I guess it turns out, the anemia. Had a great effect on my recovery in terms of making me feel not great for that first sort of 3 to 5 weeks, and then maybe even on. I reckon it was a good couple of months where I still had a lot of those dizzy spells while I was trying to recover. But yeah, so after about 3 weeks, I got that phone call, which was awesome, and I could just hear the joy in the professor's voice when she told me. Funnily enough, she said to me, "You have a lot of tattoos, don't you?" And I said, "Yeah, I have a few." And she goes, "Any above near that left armpit?" And I said, "Yeah, there is one up there." And she goes, "We think the lymph node had pulled the ink in, and that's what had made that last reading still show like it might have still been there." So I was actually in the clear, and the first lot of treatment did work as of that initial PET scan, but we just had to be precautionary and do that other biopsy just to make sure. So I am in remission, which is amazing. I have my next appointment coming up on the 18th of March, and hopefully I'm still in remission, which would be amazing. My hair has grown back. It didn't really grow back any darker, which is sad, but it did grow back. So yeah, I'm feeling great. I still have moments where my energy does lack a little, but I've been training again. I can't wait to start getting back with my mates at East Martial Arts and doing my combat again, and kickboxing and my freestyle martial arts, which I love. So that's only just around the corner, I reckon, and I'll be able to do that. So while I was, I guess, coming good, and I had got the diagnosis, I guess, of being in the clear and being in remission, I reached out to Lymphoma Australia, and I asked, I guess, how can I help? How can I what can I do in that space to create greater awareness? Help blokes like myself that don't pay attention to signs and symptoms, think that we are indestructible, and and that she'll be right, mate, but sometimes it won't be right. So they've been amazing. I've been corresponding back and forth with them. They asked me would I share my story, which I did in text format, which was great. Threw up a few photos there. So in the client stories or the patient story section on the Lymphoma Australia website, you can see my story and many others that are battling this or have battled it and are winning, and some that are still going through the journey. So Lymphoma Australia has, in March, they have a STEP campaign coming up where we're looking to raise awareness about lymphoma, and we're looking to raise funds for patients and people going through lymphoma and their families that are helping them out, because it can be a challenging time financially. It is a stressful time. As much as I like to think that I handled it okay, there were moments of weakness where you're like, this is real and this is tough. But so yeah, if I can help in any way and I can inspire others that are going through it, or help you lads just decide to go and get checked when you feel something's off. Any of those signs or symptoms that I mentioned before, lumps, please go get checked. So you don't, they can get it if you do have it as quick as possible, or you can rule it out, which is best case scenario. So March STEP campaign, Lymphoma Australia. I have a page set up where I'll be looking to raise funds. I'm going to be walking 10,000 steps a day. That is my challenge. For this, the target that I have set, I'd love you guys to come on board and support in any way you can, whether it just be promoting it, stepping, giving anything you can in regards of monetary value would be amazing. So let's get ready. March is only around the corner. We get ready to step, we get ready to raise awareness, and so we can help people like myself that have to go through this, that are going through this, and that anyone that may unfortunately go through this in the future, we can be there to support them all the way and help them in any way, shape, or form we can. So thank you again. Thank you for listening to my story. Thank you to everyone that helped me thus far. Hopefully I am in the clear forever. You never know with these things, but if it does ever come back, I'm ready for round two. I've been taught not to give up when we're fighting, and that's what I'll do. If need be again, I'll go again, and I'll throw a few more punches and a few more kicks and smash it, but hopefully not. And just for anyone that is going through this or may go through this, just know that there are people out there that are here to help. Lymphoma Australia is amazing. In the short time that I've been corresponding with them, they've been fantastic and offered a lot of support, a lot of nurses that you can call, and people that you can reach out to help you with this ordeal, as unpleasant as it may be at certain stages. So thank you again. I'm going to just finish up by saying thank you to everyone that helped me along the way, and here's to a happier, healthier life, cancer-free. See you guys. Thank you.